Every time a new 5-star is released, people love to complain, but the amount of negativity when Kokomi was released was on a whole different level. Like, look at all of these videos from some of the biggest content creators in Genshin. Like, absolute trash, might be the worst 5-star, blah blah blah. Is Kokomi bad? Worst 5-star, Kokomi sucks, Kokomi is the worst 5-star, trash tier, worst character. So yeah, it's no wonder I don't think her banner sold very well. Maybe I like her so much because I'm the furthest thing away from a meta player as you can get. For example, Amber is my waifu, and I love using characters like Chi-Chi. I use Chi-Chi a lot, and Xinyan. I might make videos on why I think they're good in the future. And I will never level a dude above level 20, as you can see here. I don't even have a Bennett. I just really have a soft spot for unloved characters, so even though I was thinking of rolling for her anyway, all the hatred kind of made me want Kokomi more, honestly. And now that I've had time to build her to a decent enough point, I figured it's a perfect opportunity to show off her potential. I'll talk more about my thoughts on her later in the video, but for now I'll cut straight to my Spiral Abyss run, where I used only female characters and 4-star weapons. I'll show my builds later on, but just to clarify what I meant by free-to-play friendly in the thumbnail, my account isn't free-to-play, as I used to buy the Welkin and Battle Pass, and in this run I used 4 of the 4-star Battle Pass weapons. However, I believe it's still free-to-play friendly, as all of them have options that are just as good as, if not better than, the Battle Pass weapons. So for example, Hu Tao has the deathmatch, but if you don't have a deathmatch, if you're free-to-play, you can also use the White Tassel. I have a level 90 White Tassel. You can also use, I don't have one, but you can also use the one in the shop. I forgot what it's called now, because I don't have it, but the one in the Paimon shop, you can use that. For Ning, I have the Solar Pearl. I actually have this isn't my main build for Ning. I actually use a Skyward Atlas, but for this video I didn't want to use any 5-star. If you don't have the Solar Pearl, you can also use the Widsith. If you have it leveled, you can also use Dodoko Tails. For Beidou, I have the Serpent Spine, but Beidou has a lot of good free-to-play options. You can use the Fish. I used to use a Prototype Archaic, and there's another 4-star which is really good for her. The new 4-star sword, even though you have to roll for it, is actually really good for her as well. There's probably other ones which are good for her, but I like the Serpent Spine just because it looks really good for her. Fischl, I have the Viridescent Hunt. Fischl actually has a better free-to-play option. She has the Stringless, but I don't have the Stringless. You can also use the Windbloom Ode, which is like a budget Stringless. And I think some of the craftable ones are good for her as well. But because I have it, I use the Viridescent Hunt. So this is my floor 12 chamber 1 run. This is when the first time I got the 3 stars for this reset. I'm using Ayaka Freeze Comp with Barbara, Sucrose and Diana. So I'm not playing this perfectly just because I believe I've got enough DPS to kill them without trying too hard. But normally if you're having trouble with these 3 guys, or any of the agents as well after this, a good tactic is to run to the edge of the zone so that they come to you. It's a lot easier to CC them that way, especially in a freeze comp. That's a really good strategy, as you can freeze them all together, really close together, and just Ayaka burst on them. Because I'm not really doing a good job, as you can see, that burst was just kind of wasted there. People probably know how to play like a freeze comp team already, but usually the order I go in is Diana burst to get the Noblesse boost, into Sucrose to get the Viridescent Hunt, resist down, and then Barbara switch to Ayaka to get the Thrilling Tales buff and also apply a Hydra. As you can see here, this was pretty lucky that they came kind of close together. But yeah, like I said earlier, if you're having trouble with this bit, if you run to the edge and wait for them to attack you at the same time, it should be easy. So even when playing not optimally, I was able to finish that at 8 minutes 40, so it's pretty good. So for these Geo Bishops, it's pretty much just running them down. Kokomi's pretty good here, just because there's multiple enemies. So with Beidou, her arc lightning jumps to multiple enemies, so it makes better use of it. Even though the Hydra, Kokomi is pretty good at taking them down just with the Beidou official Shang support. Again, I'm not really playing this that well. For people who, I'm sure people know how to defeat Bishops as well. But when it jumps in the air, it's possible to iframe, dodge it, iframe dodge, so you don't take any damage. Although I'm not very good at this, and you've already seen me getting hit by it quite a few times. For this Kokomi, oh, do I get it? No, I framed it there. But for this, for my Kokomi comp, well, one of them, I use Beidou official for the battery, to battery Beidou, and Shang Ling just for the extra sub DPS damage. And for random vaporizes, reverse vaporizes as well. Again, watching this back, I can see how badly I'm playing this, but it's still possible to get the 3 stars when you're not playing that well. So this is the run of Floor 12 Chamber 2 where I 3-starred it for the first time. I actually changed the team for this one, for the Magu Kenki. So this team, I'm running Diona, Ning, Hu Tao and Ayaka. The reason I changed it from my usual freeze comp is the normal freeze comp with Barbara and Sucrose, it didn't provide enough damage because Magu Kenki can't be frozen, so having Barbara isn't ideal, and it's kind of a wasted spot, and Sucrose doesn't provide enough damage compared to this comp with Hu Tao and Ningwang. Hu Tao for the melt and reverse melt, and Ning is just the strong burst damage dealer. So it takes about 10 seconds for the Magu Kenki to stand up, so be wary of that, because if you start hitting him, he doesn't take damage. But if you have a bunch of supports like Diona or Sucrose or anyone like that, be sure to use their abilities before it fully stands up, just so that you don't waste time and you can start dealing damage to it straight away. Because so many times I was using Ayaka and not doing damage because it was just still in its invincible form. But yeah, the strategy with Magu Kenki is just to deal as much damage as possible. If you fight it enough times, you will notice the patterns, but there, I believe it's invincible, or at least a little bit invincible in this form, but it is possible to iframe its massive attack. Yeah, as you can see there, it didn't take any damage. So don't use Ayaka burst at that moment. As with all the floors, I'm noticing a lot of mistakes so that's the last time I'm going to mention how badly I'm playing this. It's really annoying here, especially as a Hu Tao main, because when it applies cryo to you, it's really hard to jump cancel her dash, her charge attack, as you can see there, because you get slowed down. This is the second part, and I'm using the... Oh no, I've replaced sucrose. I've replaced fish with sucrose here. I believe that's because for this chamber, CC is really important. As you can see, I use her burst straight away just to pull in the other dudes. Because these other dudes, there's two on each side. This one and this one. They are very annoying. More annoying than you think. So that's why having sucrose here to CC them is really important on this floor. And then it's just a matter of focusing down this ice F2P agent. Those other two dudes died without me even noticing it, to be honest. That's what Kokomi is best at. It's for floors where there's a bunch of enemies, especially with Beta. I mean, I guess you can say that before all taser comes from. I think I barely cleared this with 3 stars. 5 seconds left. So this is my floor 12 chamber 3 first half, and we're back to using fish team for Kokomi. For this chamber, I love to use Fish's burst straight away just to quickly move to the ruin thing on the left. For this floor in particular, it's always better to target one of these two because they like to either stay far away, or they like to run away, whereas the big ruin guy will always move towards you. I've seen some people move to the back of the room and wait for all 3 of them to move to you, but in my experience, sometimes the ruin hunter, he will just fly up in the air sometimes, and this time moving to the left, more often than not, both of these things will move towards you, so you get all 3 of them. I don't think I mentioned this before, but the order in which you use Xiangling, Kokomi, and Fish's E is kind of important. You should use the longest duration one first. So it should be Kokomi's one first, and then Xiangling, and then Fish at the end. Especially if you have Kokomi's burst up, because it will refresh the duration of the jellyfish anyway. You're probably going to see me not do that a lot of times, just because in the middle of battle it is kind of hard to remember the order. Another reason why I like Kokomi is because getting Xiangling's chili pepper doesn't feel as bad with Kokomi just because she's a ranged character, whereas for someone like Hu Tao, changing direction just to get the chili pepper sometimes results in a DPS loss. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just focusing the ruin dude, the smaller one. Having a battery with Beta is super important just because her burst is so expensive. It doesn't really feel good not using fish. But what was that time? 8:50. Oh, so that was really quick, so 1 minute 10. So for the second team, it's just my usual Ayaka freeze comp. So what I like to do here is straight away go for the Barbara normal attack. Not just to apply Hydro, but it seems to disable it as well. Normally, I said that the order should be Diona, Sucrose, and then Barbara, but yeah, for that reason I prefer using Barbara first for this bit. And then switch to Barbara for the freeze after using Ayaka's burst. I don't know, if I muddle my words up or say something stupid, just ignore it. Just because it's kind of hard to commentate over gameplay, just because I'm sure I'm missing something or missing something else. But yeah, Ayaka freeze comp is super strong on this floor in particular, so it looks easier than it is. And I'll show you later, my builds aren't super strong either, so just shows how good Ayaka is for this. So the strategy is the same as the last floor, where you just target the small guys first. And that's that. And now I'm going to show my Kokomi team on the other floors that she didn't do. So this is my Kokomi, Fish, Shangling and Beidou team on Chamber 1 first half. The strat is the usual Kokomi one. Don't have to think too much about this. She's better on this floor, this side, than Ayaka was, in my opinion. Just because it's easier to deal damage to multiple enemies with the taser comp. However, these guys can deal so much damage, so it's important to keep an eye on your health. And there's another reason why Kokomi is really good, just because her healing is really quick. So this is my Kokomi team on Chamber 2 with the Magu Kenki. In my opinion, this is the hardest part to clear with a Kokomi team, just because Beidou is best with multiple enemies. So as I said earlier, it's just using the support's abilities during that downtime before it stands up. So I like to, with Shangling, I like to slowly move counterclockwise, just so the Pyronado hits it a bit quicker. For that move, I like to Beidou counter. If she has more than half health, she'll survive. But if she has less than half, then you'll kill her. If you don't have Beidou counter up, I usually just switch to Kokomi just because she's so tanky. She can usually survive that. I also prefer Shangling to my Super Kokomi team just because for Mega Kenki it's all about dealing as much damage as possible. And Shangling does so much damage, and for this battle, Overload isn't a problem just because the Mega Kenki can't be juggled or anything like that, which is a problem with Overload. Not Overload. No, yeah, Overload usually. So yeah, even with this team, I wasn't able to clear it in 1 minute 30, but I did manage to get it to 1 minute 40. I just got really lazy. It took a lot of runs to get it this quick, to be honest. I'm sure I can get it quicker, I'm just too lazy. And this is the final chamber, chamber 3 second half with Kokomi. This is the usual Shangling fish comp. So there, that was really annoying. I actually got stuck on that middle bit. I usually get stuck on that with Ayaka as well. And Huta as well. Same strat as usual, just aim for the one on the left. So I actually noticed that you can disable them before they attack while watching back these gameplays. I don't know if it's just Hydra that does it, or if you can disable it with any. But yeah, I usually just unga bunga everything, so I don't really pay attention to mechanics or anything like that. I think I barely complete this one. Yeah, so 7. I got it at 7 on the dot. And I started with 8 minutes 40. So it took longer to complete that with the Kokomi team, but I think that's mainly just due to misplays and stuff like that. Like getting stuck on this platform. So yeah, that's how I cleared the Abyss with only waifus plus Diona, 4-star weapons, and no Ganyu. So in my opinion, pretty free-to-play friendly. I'd imagine it'd be many times easier if you throw in the 4 broken characters like Ganyu, Zhongli, Bennett and Venti, and other amazing supports like Kazuha and Xingqiu. I'm going to go through my builds now for those curious. You can pause the screen if you need to take a closer look, but I'm going to quickly go through them. So I use Favonius Warbow on Diona, nothing else special, almost 200% energy regen, a C5 and a 4-piece Noblesse set. I increased her Icy Pause to level 7 because at 7 you get slightly increased shield duration. This is my Ayaka build. I use a Refine for craftable Japanese katana weapon, just because 1, I think it looks really cool, and 2, I think it's a really good weapon for her. I always run her with double cryo, so cryo resonance, which is why I'm fine with keeping her crit rate at 27. I use a 4-piece Blizzard Strayer set. I've got her at 10, 9, 10. This is my Barbara. This is my healer build Barbara. I have a normal attack at 9 because I have tried a DPS Barbara. I use her with Thrilling Tales and a 4-piece Maidens. This is my Shangling. Attack isn't too great, but her stats are kind of decent. 214 energy regen, and a 1, 10, 12 on talents, and a C5. I use a 4-piece emblem set, which I only recently got, so I don't think the stats are amazing on this one. This is my Ning with the Solar Pearl. I use 2-piece Glad, 2-piece Archaic Petra. This is my Kokomi. I use a Refined 5 prototype Amber. I've got her at 9, 9 and 10. The stats aren't amazing, only reaching around 35k HP. On Kokomi I'm currently using a 4-piece Hydro set. This is my Beidou, the only C6 character I use regularly. Talents at 9, 12 and 12, with decent crit ratios and a Serpent Spine. On Beidou I'm using another 4-piece emblem set. This is my Fish. I use 4-piece Thunder Soother, just because I farmed this out ages ago for my Beidou when I was first playing the game, and in a Taser comp it actually does really well, so I don't see myself farming another set anytime soon. I want to use her more, but I want to wait for more constellations. I have her at 6, 9, 6 for talents. This is my Sucrose with a 4-piece, or actually 5-piece Viridescent set. I've gone full EM. I have her at C2, which I think is pretty necessary for Sucrose, and 999 for talents. I have her at 9 because I did consider using a DPS Sucrose as well. I've been quite lucky with Sucrose's weapon. I've got Refined 5 Sacrificial Fragments. And this is my Huta with the Deathmatch and a 4-piece Crimson Witch set. 1099 for talents and C0. So what are my final thoughts on Kokomi? After using her to clear both this Abyss and the last one, I think she's a great character. I wasn't able to 9-star the last Abyss without her because my Hu Tao team struggles when the enemies are spread out. Does that mean she's better than Hu Tao? No, it means her team is better than my Hu Tao team in certain situations. That's what annoyed me when people said she sucked because character A and character B can do this better or whatever. Genshin is a team game. You build around the characters you have, so I guarantee there will be many situations where Kokomi is better than character A and B. For example, comparing the other Hydro characters, you may be looking for a support buffer with Thrilling Tales and a Millilith set, in which case Kokomi is better than Barbara because Barbara can't use a Millilith set. You might need to apply Hydro to multiple enemies quickly, in which case Kokomi could be better than Xingqiu since his AoE isn't great. You might want to use a Fireworks comp but have Bennett in a different team, in which case Kokomi could be better than Child since she fills the healer role and can apply Hydro effectively. Same goes for Mona in a Morgana comp, which doesn't usually have a healer. A more personal example for me would be how for the longest time I was planning on rolling for Raiden, but after she came out I realised I didn't have a decent team for her as she doesn't work with Beidou in a Taser comp, and I didn't have someone like Yoimiya to do a decent Overload comp. My account isn't strong enough where I could afford to roll for her just because, so for that reason I skipped her and rolled for Kokomi as I needed another Hydro DPS, especially as I don't have or use Xingqiu or Child. As I've shown, she made my account stronger, and I think it's a real shame there will be loads of people whose accounts would also be stronger with Kokomi, but won't be because they didn't roll for her due to the majority of the community saying she was complete doo-doo. This game isn't so hard where you need characters that can one-bang everything and provide some other busted mechanic like Venti's Q. Only rolling for characters stronger than the ones you already have is what contributes to power creep, and it's sad that the over-the-top reaction to Kokomi will probably accelerate that. Saying all that, don't get me wrong, even though I think she's pretty balanced, I do think she could do with some tweaks. For example, walking on water during her burst is useless. She may as well be able to do that permanently. I also wouldn't say no to any damage buffs. Anyways, those are my thoughts on her. Basically, I think she's a great and enjoyable character to play, and I encourage people to roll for characters they think are fun or can complement their current characters, rather than waiting only for the next broken character like Ganyu, who may not even fit your teams or your playstyle. Sorry for making this video so long, but that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave any questions, comments, or even future video suggestions below, as I do want to make more Genshin videos in the future. Thanks again.